How many times have you heard the warning about not using the same password for multiple sites? Well, it seems Facebook's chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg, did not heed this advice and has become the latest high-profile hacked example of why we should. WSJ reporter Robert McMillan has the story and joins us now. Hi, Robert. We know Zuckerberg's Twitter and Pinterest accounts were hacked, but do we know who these hackers are and how they got his password?
We know a little bit about who these hackers are, and we definitely know how they got his password. His password came from a large database of LinkedIn usernames and passwords that was hacked in 2012 and then recently put on the internet. So there was his LinkedIn username and password were in that database. It appears that it was then used to access his Twitter account by someone, we're not sure who, and then a hacking team called Armine used the same password, it seems, to get into his Pinterest account.
So, Robert, it seems a little hard for me to believe that someone as tech-savvy as Zuckerberg would have a password as simple as da-da-da that he used at least twice. I mean, don't you think that's a little odd?
Okay, first of all, I think there's a debate over how to pronounce it. I say da-da-da, but some people say da-da-da. Trying to figure that out right now. In fact, it's the first thing that Facebook warns you about in their security page. Don't reuse passwords. So in that sense, it's ironic that the CEO of the company is doing this.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, everybody reuses passwords.
Right.
Because there are too many. We're asked for them too often. And if you think about Mark Zuckerberg's perspective, he's barely used Twitter. He was probably testing it out just to see, kind of get a feel for it. Same with Pinterest. He's not an active user there. It makes sense to me that he would not really care much about the password he used on those and the consequences of him being hacked. Sure, it's embarrassing, but
nothing.
It's not like he lost his banking information or anything like that.
Right. Good point. So for him, the consequences were not severe. But tell us about what happened recently to the users of TeamViewer, for instance.
Yes. So this is where it gets tricky. I mean, sometimes when you're reusing passwords, you might think that there are no severe consequences, but you might be wrong. With TeamViewer, this is software that you use to allow somebody remotely to access your computer. I would use it to help my parents with their computer problems in another city, for example. And it looks like, now the company says that people have been reusing passwords there, and the consequences of giving up access to your computer are much more severe than, say, having your Twitter account taken over.
Right.
We've heard, stories of people losing hundreds of dollars because people do PayPal transactions or Amazon transactions using the software. So that's much more severe.
So, Robert, according to your reporting, beyond the LinkedIn theft, there were also recent leaks of 360 million email addresses and passwords belonging to users of MySpace.com, right? And you found a website, leakedsource.com, selling access to stolen information. Why is this site even up, and why has it not been closed?
Well, I mean, you could make a legitimate argument for that this information could be useful. Companies that, like Facebook, for example, could use this information to determine whether their users were reusing passwords, and they could warn people. Corporations could access this information and use it for good. Now, of course, it could also be used for crime. And so I think if the authorities feel that the site is being used for criminal activity, they'll shut it down. Right now, I think it's a little bit under the radar. They have, I think at this point, they have close to 1.5 billion records on that site. They have a lot of databases there, and it may be as these leaks continue to happen, and I believe they will, maybe become a little more high profile at that point.
Well, thank you so much, Robert, for that, and reminding us why we all need to change our passwords and not use the same ones. Thank you.